Thank you so much. So it's great to have so many at the event. I'm kind of a bit nervous now of following Cherie and the panel. I mean, Stephanie, Victoria, Cameron, and Michael, what they have achieved by pushing themselves to try new things. And look where they are now, real examples of resilience. I just think it's fantastic. However, unlike Cherie and the panel, I am not revealing my age. I may be a smidgen older than 30. But today really reminded me of how technology has just helped us through this last year. You know, think of whenever you weren't able to connect to people. It may feel like constant Zoom calls with friends, but even being able to FaceTime your granny, and obviously being able to homeschool. Well, obviously that was kind of vital. But being able to hold an event like this with a blended technology, is amazing. So why am I here? I'm not necessarily going to tell you anything particularly about IT, but I specialise in what we call now the human skills. That's anything from communication, teamwork, leadership, emotional intelligence. You see, confidence is a really big part of that. So I am passionate about helping people both realise and release their true potential, because most of us really don't appreciate how skilled we already are and what we're capable of. See, the pace of change is phenomenal. I find it astounding that by 2050, half the jobs that currently exist will have disappeared. That 65% of children sitting in primary school today could eventually work in jobs that don't currently exist. Technology exceeds our expectations. Cherie mentioned so many applications in our everyday lives, and online shopping, I have to say, is top of my list. But things that I got used to seeing in movies are now part of everyday life. VR technology, 3D printing seems to be everywhere, from manufacturing to medicine. So how do we ensure that you get to be part of that new world? See, IT and tech, the idea of having technical knowledge and skills is kind of important. And you heard from Cherie that there's a whole mix of other skills that kind of needs to be there too. The ability to work with other people. You know, you have a really good idea. You need to be able to tell somebody about that in front of other people. I have to say, I find robot technology fascinating. But they can do many, many things. But these human skills set us apart. And industry these days, they're looking for this idea of teamwork, and they're looking for leadership, your ability to communicate. And you see, confidence sits with all of that skill. Think of collaboration. Cherie mentioned that. You know, you're very rarely do you get to work, especially on a technical project, just on your own. So we want to make sure that you have as many opportunities as possible. Create choices and give yourself so much more control over your success. You see, working on your confidence, that's a big part of that. So if you were in front of me now, if we were sitting together and we had a chat about this, I would be asking you, how confident would you say you are? What are you thinking? See, most people ask the same question, kind of come up with the same answer. They kind of feel confident some of the time, but there's many opportunities where they'd like to feel a bit more confident. Now, there's very, very few that say they've absolutely no confidence at all. And there's even fewer that say, yep, I've absolutely got this. Nothing in life phases me. Bring it on. I don't actually think I want to meet those people. But if your answer was you wanted to be more confident, you are not alone. 85% of people feel exactly the same way. See, your confidence is a powerful thing. The word confidence is a powerful word, but it's an even more powerful feeling. So as you're watching this, I want you to think of a time when you last felt confident about something. Could have been playing a game and you got to a higher level. Fortnite even, you know, setting up your new phone. Was that just really easy for you? You know, a subject in school that you love and you're really comfortable with. Could be anything really. And what I want you to remember is, what was that feeling like? What did it, did it feel good? Knowing that this was something that you could do and do well. Now imagine that feeling more often. See, not only does confidence feel good, but think of the new things you can do or try if you were confident enough. See, last year was a bit more unpredictable than any of us were ever ready for, but crazy even. Life is a bit crazy and busy and hectic, but there's a lot of beauty in life, and figuring out how to unlock your confidence is a big part of the journey. And you might notice the duck. I want you to keep an eye out for the duck, because we'll talk a bit more about that later. So what is holding you back? What affects our own confidence in ourselves? What stops us from putting ourselves forward when we're asked to do something? Do we think we're going to mess it up? Are we feel a bit stupid about it, or we're going to feel embarrassed about it? Maybe you're worried what other people will think about you. See, all of those things keep you in the comfort zone. And it seems strange, like feeling anxious or scared or self-critical is seen as being comfortable. But you see, they can stop us from getting new experiences. They keep us stuck. We just get used to feeling nervous or scared. See, a lot of our confidence is based on self-esteem. What do you think about yourself? What do you hear yourself saying? Is it positive or negative? What have you heard people say? And what do you think they say? See, our imagination, in many cases, it doesn't help us. And in a lot of times, it's not true. So you begin to build this picture of yourself. You hear these negative voices in your head, and whenever you're faced with something that might make you even the slightest bit uncomfortable, you kind of go, nah, I couldn't do that. See, I say that because that was me. When I was at school, I used to dread speaking in public, speaking out loud. I would have gone out of my way to avoid it. I'd happily done all the work and somebody else could take the credit rather than speak out loud in front of other people. See, I literally had to teach myself to be confident in that type of situation. Make it a bit more natural. And if I hadn't pushed myself a bit more, I would have missed out on so much. See, a large part of our confidence is about our mindset and our attitude. And I know Emer said I was going to bring you I am, but there's no quick fix to this, but there are things you can do. Start increasing your self-belief, because that makes a huge difference on how others see us. So I want to ask you another couple of questions just about you. What are you currently believing about yourself? What do you hear yourself saying? Oh, I can't do that. No way. It's easy for them. They can do it, but I can't. You see, your words can be powerful or make you feel powerless. When we say we can't do things, or I'll never be able to do that, that keeps us stuck right where we are. So what about even a small change to that? I can't do something yet, or I don't feel confident yet, but I'm willing to give it a go. You see, positive talk is important. Trying to keep a focus on the positive as much as you can. My challenge to you is to start thinking about your thinking. You see, the brain doesn't like negatives. Have you ever been in a situation where you've got a drink and someone says, don't spill that? Or you're walking somewhere and you say, don't trip. And what happens? How many times have you spilled your drink or you've actually tripped? So your brain doesn't respond to the don't bit. It almost ignores it. Goes straight to the spill. Trip. So try, I want this to go well for something new rather than I don't want to mess up. Are you being kind to yourself? Are you even recognizing what you're already good at? See, you got to start believing in you to begin to create a bit more of a positive self-image. And believe me, confidence isn't about popularity, but it does start with you liking yourself. So while you're working on all this, So what happens if you have to present to your class or another group or attend an interview or speak to someone you don't know? So what then? Well, here's a few things that you can try to help mask the nerves inside so people just don't know. See, look at the energy you bring into a room, whether that's a real room these days or a virtual one. See, you might feel scared, you might feel nervous. But you see, it's a bit like kids putting on a superhero outfit. You can mask some of that doubt. See, start with a smile. I know it sounds almost too simple, but that positivity is contagious. Be conscious of how you're showing up because it makes an impact virtually. Fix your posture. Are you slouching in your chair? Take a moment to think of what way you want to be seen, and then ask yourself, what do I need to do to show up? Think of the superhero stance. If you were in front of me, I'd get you all to stand up and kind of do that, Wonder Woman thing. And you might think it's a bit foolish, but there's something in that kind of position of power. And there's a lady called Amy Cuddy, and she has a video on YouTube. It's about 20 minutes long, and it's really worth a watch. What would you say to yourself? What's the effect you're having on your own confidence? Start by telling yourself, this is going to be okay. It's going to go well. It's going to be great even. And even if you can't do that, you can go, I got this. Like, it'll be over in 10 minutes. Getting to know your strengths, are really important. What if I asked you now to make a list of them? What's going on in your head? Can you think of the first few? And was that a wee bit of a struggle? Because I guarantee most of us don't recognize what our strengths are. Because if it was, if that took you a bit more time, if you thought to yourself, I have no idea what I'm going to write here, I challenge you to start taking the time and write them down. And if you don't know, ask people you trust and you value. It's time to start paying attention to what you're really good at and focus less on what you think you can't do. They see having the list is one thing. Many of us struggle to say it out loud when someone asks you. So, second part of the challenge, when you have your list, I want you to practice. I want you to say it out loud. I want you to say it to yourself. Tell the dog, tell the cat, anyone who's willing to listen. Get comfortable with saying it. So when you're asked again, what you're good at, you can say it with no hesitation. You see, going back to this, speaking in front of other people. This is one of the things that many people dread. Now, you can't ignore it. If you're in class, if you work as part of a team, or if you're in any form of work or a team meeting, you'll be expected to say something at some point. Each member of a team is expected to play their part. That could mean leading a team, presenting, challenging the ideas of others, and it all just takes practice. See, one thing that makes this a lot easier is getting used to the sound of your own voice. Do you ever think to yourself, I hate how I sound? Well, one way of getting used to that is to record yourself and listen and watch it back. Now, so many times there's either TikTok videos, Instagram videos, that bit all serves a purpose. But for here, you could actually use it to see, do you speak too quickly? Do you speak too slowly? Are you looking confident? How's your posture? You can begin to get comfortable and practice these types of things so that when it comes to presentations or interviews, you can begin to practice that and be ready for the next challenge. See, this is like exercising new muscles. The more the practice, the better and stronger you become. Might be a bit painful though, but you get the result. So practice, practice, practice. Now, it doesn't always go well. Sometimes you don't get things right the first time. Have a look at some of these characters. Before their success, some of the most successful people experienced epic failure. We're happy enough to look at their successes. We don't necessarily look at what happened beforehand. Oprah was demoted from her job as a TV anchor because she didn't fit TV. Walt Disney sacked for lacking imagination. One of my favourites is the light bulb. Now, there are many people in history who've had a go kind of inventing the light bulb, but Edison is credited with it. And history kind of argues with itself a little bit, but there's something between 1,000 and 10,000 attempts before he got it to work. Whatever that is, that seems massive. And all I'm saying here is take a bit of, have a bit of courage. Try to see if you can create something or do something new. Stick with it. Now, that's all well and good. What else is holding you back? What are you saying to yourself? Well, I'm too nervous. If I have to speak out loud or I have to challenge someone's idea, I have to say something I've thought of, you've got to say, I'm nervous and everyone is going to know. I don't know about you, but when the nerves kick in, suddenly it can feel like your heart is about to explode. You think everybody else can see it. It's a horrible feeling. Imagine you're sitting in a group of people in class and everybody's going round and it's coming towards you and it's going to be your turn to speak and you can feel your heart racing. So I'm going to teach you a little technique that you may or may not have heard of. It's called 4 square breathing. Now, it's not rocket science. When you breathe, what you imagine is that you're drawing a square. Obviously in your head, you're not drawing it out. But when you breathe in for a count of 4, you draw one side, hold it for a count of 4, you draw it in another, breathe out for a count of 4, you breathe this bit, hold it for a count of 4. You kind of get the idea. Right, so we're going to have a go very briefly. So with your eyes open or closed, whichever way you want, I want you to, in your mind, draw your square as you're breathing. So I want you to breathe in slowly for 4. I want you to hold it for 4. I want you to breathe out slowly for 4. And hold it for 4. Now you can repeat that as many times as you want. Now the beauty about this technique is you can do it sitting with your eyes open. No one else will know. You can decide to focus and control your breathing. You see, what 4 square breathing does is it forces oxygen into your system, and when it's doing that, it slows down that heartbeat. It isn't a magic fix, but it does calm things down before you begin to speak, and you begin to feel like you've got more control. So you see, remember the duck? See, if you watch a duck in the water, on the surface, it's moving around with ease. And it's only if you look under the water, you can see that their legs are going a dinger. We can work on this outside appearance of calm while we're trying to calm the inside. So please have a go at that. And I want to leave you with a few things to remember to help build this self-esteem, which I know is a big part of our confidence. See, a lot of how we view ourselves comes from other people's views and how they either speak to us or what we think they think of us. So it's important to surround yourself with positive people who make you feel good about yourself. I know this is easy to say, but try not to compare yourself to others because everyone has their own individual strengths and weaknesses. Yours are going to be different from your friends. You're all unique. And our skills vary too. And that's okay. See, if you want to improve your confidence, then set yourself some goals. And then start to notice what you actually accomplish. See, if you begin to give yourself credit for what you do, you're showing yourself that what you're capable of. And when you can do that, that begins to add to this positive self-image and all of that has that knock-on effect on confidence. So back to getting out of your comfort zone. If you step out of your comfort zone just enough, you can begin to create good stress. You can begin to ramp up your focus, your creativity, your pace, your drive. And when some of the unexpected things happen, you can handle those. And that's where the kind of confidence, resilience bit kind of overlaps. See, not only will you be able to develop new skills, just stepping out of your comfort zone, even just a bit, or a willingness to try, keeps you both productive and helps you learn new skills and boost your self-esteem. See, be mindful how do you speak to yourself. Try and keep that talk positive. Let's practice some self-care and give yourself credit for what you do and do well. Get comfortable with your skills and your strengths and get used to the voice. See, and when you show up, try to show up with power and positivity, because it's harder for to convince someone else if you don't believe it either. See, back to the duck. It was described to me once that having, you see all these negative thoughts and self-doubts and criticisms that go through our heads. Imagine a big yellow quacking duck on your shoulder. It's very annoying, it's loud, and it's kind of all you can hear. So here's my challenge for you today. Step out of that comfort zone. Be bold and give things a try. Listen to what the guys said, both Cherie and the panel. There are some amazing opportunities out there, so why would it not be you? And as Victoria so succinctly put it, prove them wrong. Go out and do what you want to do. And don't be surprised when you realise how amazing you really are. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Jo. I hope that was really helpful for people listening. I found it really helpful myself. I'll be getting some tips from you in the future. But thank you so much for joining us today. That was just perfect. Thank you very much.